Welcome to Parweld TV. Today we're going to be talking about the Parweld's portable tungsten grinder. It's a mains powered unit available in 230 or 110 volt and will come supplied with the appropriate plug, be it a 16 amp 110 volt or a 2-pin Euro or 3-pin UK specification plug on it. So we're going to have a look at the 230 volt version. Obviously comes in a carry case, user manual, the tungsten grinding unit itself, a dust cover which we fit over when we're using it, and a hex tool if we need to change the disc. Important thing to bear in mind in terms of why you should use a dedicated tungsten grinder: it has a diamond disc in it. This has been designed to sharpen the tungsten, dress the end and cut the tungsten to length. Being diamond, it doesn't shed mineral particles. It gives you a much cleaner point, a much finer grind on the tungsten, and you will see that in the clarity and the quality of the arc you're able to strike when you've used a dedicated tungsten grinder to sharpen it. So just going into the features we've got on the unit. The back end, we've got a speed control to control the actual speed of the grinding wheel, on-off trigger, and then on the head itself there's multiple functions on the one head. The first one here is a length cutting function. So if you're using a torch where you've got a limitation to how long the tungsten is that you can use, you can trim the tungsten all the way down to 40 mil in length down to virtually 0. So you've got a length cutting function there. On the end face here you can see the holes. This allows us to dress the end of the tungsten square. So you had a tungsten that maybe is splintered and it's got a rough end to it. Before you grind it to a point again, you want to dress the end, so you'd insert the tungsten in the end there. Going back to the length cutting, the other function there would be if you've got a big bulbous end to the tungsten where it's overheated, again you could just use that to remove that before you go back to grinding. And then around the head here we've got multiple point angles. So we've got 15 degrees, 18, 22.5 and 30 degrees, and then the appropriate tungsten size from 1mm through to 4mm down to tungsten. So if I want to grind a 30-degree point, I'd insert my tungsten in the appropriate hole and gently press it against the grinding wheel, and at the same time rotating the tungsten, and that makes the sort of even point at the end. We'll demonstrate that with the unit running in a second. Obviously the different angles you're going to choose depending on what amperage you're using, what tungsten diameter you're using, particular to your application. The grinding wheel is replaceable simply by removing the hex screw in the end here. We can take off the top and we can replace the grinding wheel, but you would expect to get many thousands of grinds before you need to replace the head. Dust cover, that's quite important. It secures onto the unit using this thumb screw here. So it just drops over and is held in place using the thumb screw. Obviously when we do grind we're going to generate some dust, so that helps contain the dust within here. We've got an aperture at the side so we can rotate that for the angle, and we've got an aperture at the top here, so if we want to dress the end or we want to use the length cutting, we can rotate it and still be able to insert the tungsten. Obviously we do also recommend you would use some respiratory protection just to protect you from the tungsten dust, and any dust that's collected within the dust cover just dispose of appropriately. Obviously the unit's very portable and easy to sort of carry around. So we'll get it all plugged in and we'll just go through the 3 different operations on the unit. Okay, so we're just going to go through the 3 functions here. The first one we're going to do is going to dress the end of the tungsten for length. So if I need a short tungsten or I've got a really bulbous end on the tungsten I need to clean off, we insert from the end and bring it down on the cutter. You can rotate it gently at the same time. So I'm just going to go through that now. So you can see there, it's very quick just to cut through the tungsten. There's a small piece of cut off there. So once I've done that, I might not have a perfectly square end on the tungsten, so I then can use the end dressing function. I just need to line it up with the correct diameter hole. Yep, so I've got the correct diameter hole there. So this is going to bring it down onto the end of the grinding disc to dress the end. So I'll switch on again. So that's given me a nice square end to the tungsten. After that cutting operation, it's cleaned the end up and squared it up again. And then the final function we've got is the actual angle of the point that we want on the end. From 15 through to 30, we'll pick 22.5. So I select the matching hole to the diameter of tungsten I've got. You can see it goes at an angle. And while I'm grinding, I want to be gently turning the tungsten, not applying a great deal of pressure on the cutting wheel, just gently rotating the tungsten until I get a point. I can draw it out and check as I go along. So. So predominantly there, I'm letting the weight of the tungsten do the work, just a little bit of gentle pressure and just keep spinning it. And you can see there I've got a lovely even point to the tungsten, nice even taper. And I said a great advantage of using the diamond disc and the controlled way of doing it is I get this even smooth point, a much cleaner, stable arc. The product's available to buy now through any authorised Parweld distributor, and a great addition to your toolbox.